So we're very, very pleased to be talking to Marcus Ward, who is peer mentor at employment at Spina Bifida and Hydrocephalus Ireland. You're very welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, John and Patrick. Delighted to be joining you.
And about time. I know we cancelled a couple of times because of issues that came up, but finally we're here.
Exactly. No,
You
that's the
might
main
tell
thing.
us a bit about yourself and the role that you work.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I said, or as you said, my role is as peer mentor with Spina Bifida Hydrocephalus Ireland, and my role is within a program called What Works for Me, and it's a government-funded and also part-funded by the EU program. Um, and it's all around employment, education, and training.
Right.
The program began in 2021, and basically, the aim of the program is to get as many people with spina bifida and hydrocephalus into employment and training and education of various kinds as much as possible. So my role within the program then, as you said, is as peer mentor. And essentially what that means is that I have both spina bifida and hydrocephalus myself. And so I suppose I like to say that my experience is, for this job is from a lived experience because I live with both conditions every day. And so my expertise is there in being able to help other people um, navigate the barriers that are there towards or when it comes to looking for employment and navigating the education system as well.
And you work with people with a disability, but also with employers. Can you tell us some of the areas that you work there?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way we do it is it's very much tailored to the needs of the person looking for the job. So depending on what they want to do, we look into, the best way for them to get where they want to be in terms of employment. But we also, as you say, work with employers as well. We're a team of four currently. Um, so we've got myself, the peer mentor. We have got the education and training manager, Claire McCormick. We've got the education and learning coordinator, that's Zoe Cole. And we've got the employment facilitator, who is Karen Chadwick. So we all work as a team to get the job seeker into employment. And then it's primarily my colleague Karen who deals with the employers. So what we try to do is we try to find as many employers that are out there with, let's say, the right attitudes towards employing people with disabilities, and finding the employers that are going to be willing to give our job seekers a fair chance. And for example, we've got a number of people on work experience programs at the moment. For example, we've got a young guy working in a tech company in the Blanchardstown area, and so that company actually came to us because they wanted to help some young people or people in general with disabilities in gaining some experience. So yeah, we also do, a lot of research into trying to find the right companies that will match up with the people on the program that are looking for work as well.
And there are obviously still barriers to employment for people with disabilities. What are the main ones that you see?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the key parts of my job is helping the job seekers to actually navigate the barriers. So what those barriers actually are, there are a number of main ones really. Uh, a lack of public transport is a big one,
Yeah.
especially in rural Ireland. Our program is open to people from all around Ireland. So we have people living in quite rural areas that don't have access to public transport. And some of those may not be able to drive as well, which adds to the problem. Um, we found that remote working actually has helped with that issue. It means that people can, have more flexibility and work from home, which is really helpful, and not having to go to the workplace. Some of the other barriers that are out there, include financial issues. I suppose it's a sort of a vicious cycle in that someone doesn't have a job and they're looking for a job. They don't have the finance then to maybe go to a university to add to their CV, and so that becomes a circle or a cycle that can be hard to get out of. We also, because it can be difficult for some of our participants to get to university, gaps in the CV, is quite common as well for our participants to have CV with fewer, accomplishments on it. As well as that, the attitudes of employers as well is something we
That's
see
a
as
big
well.
one, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, John. And that's something that we're trying to change slowly but surely. We carry out a program called Disability Employment Awareness Training, and that's something that is basically designed to educate employers to become more inclusive and more understanding towards our needs. There's a lot of desire for our people on the program to work, but we also need the employers to have the right attitude as well, and be positive and be willing to offer the supports that are necessary as well, so that the person can, if they're able to do the job, if they do need some small supports, that they're not going to be at a disadvantage in doing that job. So that I suppose that barrier is all around education. You will always maybe have some negative attitudes regardless, but we try to educate as many people as we can around the needs of our members, and just emphasizing that with some small supports and what we call reasonable accommodations in the role, that the people we're helping to find work with can do the job just as well as anybody else.
And is accessibility still an issue?
It is absolutely still an issue, yeah. We find as well with, in general, I would say some of the smaller businesses don't have the funds available maybe to adapt their premises as much. We find with the bigger businesses, they have funds available to adapt, make changes to their business premises where necessary, and so it's a little bit easier for them to let's say welcome someone with a disability into their workplace. But having said that, there are funds available, government grants available to businesses as well. And these can all be found on gov.ie for anyone who is interested. We find that, a lot of businesses are not aware that they can apply for government grants to adapt their business, as well as actually buy certain equipment for their staff as well with a disability, so that they can, have a level playing field and do the job as well as anyone else in that role.
And then if we move on then to spina bifida, for example, what is it? How does it affect you?
Yeah, so what is it? It's difficult maybe to sum up very quickly in that it's quite a complex condition.
Okay,
So yeah, so I'll explain it as best I can. So it affects people quite differently depending on how they're born with the condition. So I'm a wheelchair user, for example. I'm a manual wheelchair user, and quite a few people with spina bifida are wheelchair users, but they also have you'll also have people who can walk maybe quite well. You'll have people who can walk maybe a certain distance before needing the use of a wheelchair from time to time. Um, but essentially, what it is from a more medical point of view, it's a an issue with your back from birth. Um, that and the Your back needs to be operated on, um, you know, at a very early stage. It's a medical emergency um, at birth, really. So when that is fixed, um, you know, the next stage starts, and the child will be assessed. But every situation is different, and as I say, some people can walk, some cannot. It also has other side effects that are quite common, such as bladder and bowel issues.
Right.
And it's also there's a secondary condition as well called hydrocephalus, and that's in our organization title, Spina Bifida Hydrocephalus Ireland. Hydrocephalus is a condition where your body produces too much cerebrospinal fluid, and essentially that's in the brain, and that has to be drained away by a shunt, and the shunt is inserted into the body, uh, in it with an operation. And the thing about it is, if you are born with spina bifida, you are more likely to be, to also have hydrocephalus. I think it's around 60% of people with spina bifida also have hydrocephalus. Yeah, so something around the 60% mark. So that, in a nutshell, is what the both conditions are like.
I imagine, Marcus, access to suitable changing places is an issue in the workplace and elsewhere.
It is absolutely. It's something that, again, we're trying to educate employers on, and just highlight the fact that there's not the required amount of disabled bathrooms out there, and yeah, it's something that, again, needs to be addressed, because it's very limiting. If you're going into a workplace and you've been given a job and it turns out they don't have the adequate facilities to just use the bathroom. This is an issue outside of the workplace as well, but absolutely, it is a problem within businesses that wheelchair users cannot, go to the bathroom the way they should be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we want to move on then to the organisation itself, Spina Bifida and Hydrocephalus Ireland, what's that all about and where did that come from?
So the organisation itself, we're based in Clondalkin, and we're a small organisation, but I like to think we punch above our weight, and we've got various departments. So within the education and training team that I'm a part of, we've also got other departments as well. We've got respite and recreation, and that team deals with helping our members to become more active, and also they run summer camps and respite breaks all around the country, and so that allows our members to go away for a few days, have a bit of fun, and socialize, meet people with the same conditions, in similar situations, but just in general have a great time. And the locations that these are held in as well are all fully accessible, so there's no issues around accessibility needs. But everyone that goes on these trips always say that they have a fantastic time.
Good.
Yeah. So that's the respite and recreation. Another a really important part of our organisation is the Open Opportunity Service, and that is in Castleknock Community Centre, and that's a day service for members to come along. And again, it's a big part of it is a social aspect, meeting people with similar needs, and everyone's got similar situations. But they also do a lot of work around education and personal development, really, for our members. So that's a day service that we're very proud of and is a big part of our organisation. So we're based in Clondalkin, and we are in operation for over 50 years now. So
Wow.
we help people all around the country, and we've got branches around the country as well. So, for example, there's a Dublin branch, there's a Donegal branch, for example, that I was a part of. So that on a more, let's say, grassroots level, if that's the right word to use, is helping our members on a day-to-day basis in various localities around the country.
I saw that from your website. It said that they have or have had over 1,000 members who use the service at any given time.
Yeah, exactly. So it goes to show how necessary our organisation is, and we're always adapting as best we can to the needs of our members, and trying to find ways that we can improve and fight for the rights of our members as well, as best we can. Absolutely.
Yes, and we're coming right to the end of our time because we're only allotted at a certain time on Zoom. Anything else you'd like to put out there?
I would just like to, I suppose, finish by, advertising our program once again. As I said, it's the What Works for Me program. It's all about employment, education, and training, helping people with spina bifida and hydrocephalus to find work and education. And if there is anyone out there who may be, unaware of the work that we do, please feel free to get in touch, and we'd be very, very happy to help you, whatever your situation is. And so I'll just give out my email address.
Do.
So it's, if that's okay. So it's mward@sbhi.ie. That's mward@sbhi.ie. So feel free to get in touch, and we'd be delighted to help you out.
Great stuff. Marcus, thank you so much for coming on.
You're very welcome. Delighted to have the opportunity. Yeah, thank you very much for the invite.
Thank you so much.